America is facing a growing political storm, and at the center of it stands Donald Trump. From Washington, D.C. to multiple states across the country, protest movements are rapidly escalating. Civil rights organizations have officially launched a nationwide resistance campaign targeting Trump-aligned policies. Immigration crackdowns, federal policy battles, and rising legal challenges are pushing the United States toward a major political turning point. Political analysts are now warning that these movements could dramatically reshape the 2026 election landscape. Some experts are even calling this one of the most intense political confrontations in modern American history. But the biggest question remains: will these protests weaken Trump's political influence, or push the country into an even deeper political divide? In today's report, we break down the full reality behind this escalating national conflict. Before we continue, if you want real-time U.S. political news, global breaking updates, and deep analytical reports, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and turn on notifications so you never miss critical updates. Right now, a major political response is building across the United States, led by civil rights organizations and members of the Congressional Black Caucus. These groups have officially launched a nationwide campaign aimed at challenging policies they believe are connected to Donald Trump's political influence. The main concern raised by these organizations focuses on voting rights and social equality. Civil rights leaders say that certain policy changes could make voting more difficult for minority communities. They argue that fair access to voting is one of the most important foundations of American democracy, and any restrictions could directly impact millions of citizens. Along with voting rights, social equality has also become a major focus of this movement. Civil rights advocates believe that some political decisions may weaken programs designed to support equal opportunities in education, employment, and government representation. Because of this, advocacy groups are organizing public awareness campaigns, legal strategies, and community meetings across multiple states. Leaders involved in the movement say their goal is not only to challenge policies, but also to encourage public participation in the democratic process. They are urging citizens to stay informed, register to vote, and understand how policy changes could affect their daily lives. At the same time, supporters of these policy changes argue that reforms are necessary for government efficiency and fairness. This disagreement is creating strong political debate across the country, showing how deeply divided opinions have become on issues related to voting laws and equality programs. As this nationwide resistance campaign continues to grow, political experts believe it could play an important role in shaping future elections and influencing national policy discussions. The coming months may reveal how powerful this movement becomes and how it could impact America's political landscape moving forward. Another major issue creating political tension across the United States right now involves diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, commonly known as DEI. These programs were originally designed to create fair opportunities in workplaces, education systems, and government institutions, especially for communities that have historically faced discrimination. Recently, Trump-aligned political policies have started targeting federal DEI programs, with proposals to reduce funding, remove certain training initiatives, and limit diversity-focused hiring guidelines. Supporters of these policy changes argue that hiring and promotions should be based strictly on performance and qualifications, without considering diversity goals. They believe that reducing DEI programs could create a more neutral and merit-based system. However, critics strongly disagree. Civil rights organizations, education leaders, and many political groups argue that removing DEI programs could reverse decades of progress toward workplace fairness and equal opportunity. They say these programs help ensure that people from different backgrounds receive fair representation and protection against discrimination. Because of this disagreement, legal battles are now beginning to emerge in several states. Advocacy groups are filing lawsuits, claiming that eliminating DEI programs could violate civil rights protections. At the same time, protests and public demonstrations are growing, with activists demanding that these programs remain in place. This conflict is also expanding into universities, corporate workplaces, and government agencies. Some institutions are reviewing their diversity policies, while others are preparing for possible federal changes that could reshape hiring and training programs across the country. Political analysts say this debate represents a much larger cultural and social discussion happening in America today. The fight over DEI programs is no longer just about workplace policies. It has become a national conversation about fairness, equality, and how the country defines opportunity for future generations. As legal challenges and public protests continue, the future of DEI programs remains uncertain, and the outcome could influence major policy decisions across the United States. Another major issue driving political tension across the United States right now involves immigration enforcement. Recent policy actions connected to Trump-aligned leadership have focused on strengthening border security, expanding deportation operations, and increasing the authority of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as IC. Supporters of these stricter immigration policies say the goal is to improve national security and maintain stronger control over illegal border crossings. They argue that enforcing immigration laws more aggressively helps protect jobs, public resources, and the overall stability of the country. Many political leaders backing these policies believe tougher enforcement is necessary to restore order within the immigration system. However, these actions have also sparked strong resistance across multiple states. Immigration advocacy groups, labor unions, and community organizations are organizing nationwide demonstrations to protest expanded deportation efforts. Many protesters are concerned about families being separated and immigrant workers losing protection. Some labor groups are even organizing strikes and walkouts to show support for immigrant communities. Activists say immigration is not just a legal issue, but also a humanitarian concern. They argue that many immigrants contribute to the economy, workforce, and cultural diversity of the United States. Because of this, advocacy organizations are pushing for immigration reform that focuses more on legal pathways, worker protections, and family unity. The protests are growing in cities with large immigrant populations, where community leaders are hosting rallies, legal support programs, and awareness campaigns. At the same time, local governments in some areas are debating how closely they should cooperate with federal immigration enforcement agencies. Political analysts believe this immigration debate is becoming one of the most emotional and controversial issues in American politics. The outcome of these policy conflicts could influence future elections, national security strategies, and the overall direction of immigration laws in the United States for years to come. Along with organized political groups and civil rights organizations, another powerful movement is growing across the United States. This movement is known as the No Kings or 50,501 grassroots campaign. Unlike traditional political groups, this movement is built mainly by everyday citizens, community organizers, and independent activists who are joining together through social media and local networks. The core message behind this movement focuses on protecting democratic values. Supporters of the campaign believe that no political leader should hold too much power or influence over government institutions. Many activists involved in the movement say they are concerned about leadership styles they describe as too aggressive or centralized. Because of this, they are organizing mass protests, public rallies, and awareness campaigns across multiple states. The movement has already gained attention because of its ability to mobilize large crowds quickly. Organizers use online platforms to coordinate demonstrations, share political messages, and encourage community participation. In several major cities, thousands of protesters have gathered to express concerns about political authority, government accountability, and civil rights protections. Supporters of the movement say their goal is to remind citizens about the importance of checks and balances within a democratic system. They believe public participation and peaceful protests help maintain transparency and prevent the concentration of political power. At the same time, critics of the movement argue that these protests may increase political division and create instability. Some political leaders believe grassroots activism can sometimes spread misinformation or create unnecessary fear among voters. Despite these disagreements, the No Kings/50,501 movement continues to expand. Political experts say grassroots activism like this has historically played a major role in shaping American political change. As new protests are being planned throughout 2026, this movement could become an important factor influencing public opinion and future election outcomes across the country. Thumbs up, yeah, Raha 0.5K, 300 words simple, human tone, voiceover-ready American storytelling news script, clapperboard script segment, legal challenges, and multi-state lawsuits. Voiceover-friendly human tone, 300 words. As political tension continues to grow across the United States, another major development is happening behind the scenes. A wave of legal challenges against federal policies connected to Trump-aligned leadership. Several state governments, civil rights organizations, and advocacy groups are now preparing or filing lawsuits to challenge policy decisions they believe may violate constitutional protections or civil rights laws. Many of these legal cases focus on voting regulations, immigration enforcement policies, and changes connected to diversity and equality programs. State officials involved in these lawsuits argue that some federal policy decisions could reduce state authority or limit protections for certain communities. Because of this, multiple states are joining together to challenge these policies in federal courts. Civil rights organizations are also playing a major role in these legal efforts. Advocacy groups are working with legal experts to examine whether certain policy changes could create barriers for voters, immigrants, or minority communities. These organizations believe that court decisions could help protect individual rights and prevent long-term policy impacts that they see as harmful. On the other side of the debate, supporters of these federal policies argue that the government has the legal authority to make changes in areas such as immigration enforcement, education policy, and federal program funding. They believe these legal challenges are politically motivated attempts to block government reforms. Legal experts say these lawsuits could take months or even years to resolve, depending on how courts interpret constitutional law and federal authority. Some cases may eventually reach the United States Supreme Court, which could deliver decisions that shape national policies for decades. As these legal battles continue, they are becoming one of the most important fronts in the national political conflict. The outcome of these lawsuits will not only affect current policies, but could also define the balance of power between federal and state governments in the future. As these protests, legal battles, and policy conflicts continue to grow, political tension across the United States is reaching a new level. Many experts believe these movements are not just temporary reactions. Instead, they could play a major role in shaping future elections and influencing how voters make their decisions. Across the country, political conversations are becoming more intense. Supporters and critics of Trump-aligned policies are becoming more vocal, both online and in public spaces. Campaign strategists from both major political parties are closely watching these developments because public opinion is often influenced by large national movements like these. Political analysts say that issues such as immigration, voting rights, diversity programs, and federal authority are likely to become central topics during upcoming election campaigns. Candidates are expected to use these issues to connect with voters, build campaign messages, and shape their political strategies. In many states, these debates are already influencing local elections and political fundraising efforts. Another important factor is voter turnout. Large protest movements often encourage more people to become politically active. Advocacy groups from both sides are working to register voters, educate communities, and motivate supporters to participate in elections. Higher voter participation could create unpredictable election results, especially in states where past elections were decided by small margins. At the same time, some experts warn that rising political polarization could increase social division across the country. Strong disagreements between political groups can sometimes create tension within communities, workplaces, and even families. Because of this, many leaders are calling for respectful political discussion and peaceful civic engagement. As the United States moves closer to future election cycles, these growing movements are expected to play a powerful role in shaping the nation's political direction. The decisions voters make in upcoming elections could determine how these policy debates and national tensions are resolved in the years ahead. Despite the political disagreements, protests, and legal battles happening across the United States, many experts believe there is also a positive side to this moment. These movements are showing how strongly people care about democracy, rights, and the future of their country. Across different states, citizens are becoming more aware, more involved, and more willing to speak about issues that matter to them. Community leaders, activists, and political representatives are all participating in discussions about fairness, equality, and government responsibility. This kind of public participation is often seen as one of the strongest signs of a healthy democracy. History has shown that challenging times in American politics have often led to important reforms and stronger institutions. When different groups raise their voices, it creates opportunities for debate, compromise, and long-term solutions that can benefit future generations. Many political leaders are also encouraging peaceful dialogue and cooperation, reminding citizens that disagreements are a natural part of democracy, but unity and respect help the country move forward. As the nation continues to face these challenges, one thing remains clear. The American people are actively shaping their future through discussion, participation, and civic engagement. No matter which political side people support, these movements highlight the power of public voice and democratic participation. And in the end, it is this shared commitment to democracy, freedom, and national progress that continues to keep the United States moving forward with hope and resilience.